ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. Yes, we're back. Opening day, MLB Midday Market Report. Good friend and colleague, Mr. Scotty Webb, live from Tampa. I'm live from Cape Cod. I think it's almost 47 degrees. The sun's out. It feels great. A lot of rain coming our way. Wouldn't know it right now. Super stoked. Come on board. Grab your pens, pencils, peanuts, popcorn, Cracker Jacks, scorecards, questions, you name it. We're here. Game number 1 of 162. A game last night. Through my eyes, San Francisco team total over 3.5. Game was lost in the opening inning. First inning, first and third, 1 out. Don't score. Yankees put up a 5 spot in the second inning. Thanks for playing. That's it. But there's no crying in baseball. We move on. Got a full slate tonight, rest of the weekend. You know, me and Scotty will be here till November 1st. October 31st, trick or treat, talking baseball. But first and foremost, shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download that app. It is free. Good stuff there with the community. Shout out to Richard Populus. Go Red Sox, go Huskies. Scott is the best. Thank you, Richard, so much for all the trust and support. Big day for UConn. Hockey, 1:30. Big Dogs today in Worcester, Richard, and then the nightcap against Michigan State, by the way. And then the nightcap, two legends, Dan Hurley, Tom Izzo. Winner most likely gets the Dukies, but Rick Pitino and company will have something to say there. Wouldn't that be something, Richard? St. John's upsets Duke. UConn beats Michigan State. And then we have St. John's UConn part 4 this year. That would be something. But we're here to talk some bases. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Scotty Webb. What's up, champ?
Hey, we got one in the books, man. What a game that was, huh? Like, I'll be honest. I didn't watch it. I didn't pay for Netflix. I already pay for so much stuff to watch these baseball games, which doesn't offend me. But because of the stuff that I pay for, I listened to it on the radio and then watched it through my phone with the Game Time app and was just satisfied as shit. Loved it. I don't know when the last time I listened to like that as a game and watching that stuff on the radio. And, you know, I just hearkened me back to when I was younger. And the other thing that was cool was I originally wanted to listen to what Yankees were saying, but for whatever reason, it wouldn't load up the Yankees broadcast. So I listened to the San Francisco broadcast, and it was fabulous because John Miller was on, and he was just, man, it's been so long. And, you know, I missed those Sunday nights with Joe Morgan back when, you know, I was in high school and teenage kid. And, you know, man, that's a long time ago already. Those guys did that for like 10, 11, 12 years in a row. And then I saw some of the Twitter stuff about how they didn't like Netflix and this, that, and the other, and that, you know, it was a big infomercial and so, you know, and all that stuff. And they didn't really, you know, do the game. They did a lot of interviews and whatever. So anyway, that all being said and out of the way, there's several things that came out of that game. I don't know if you want to talk about that game yet, but First thing that came out of that game is the Yankees can win baseball games if Aaron Judge doesn't do anything. That's amazing. That's news in itself. I don't know how many times people heard me say that last year on our stuff and talking things was, the Yankees are Aaron Judge. Well, Aaron Judge was 0 for 5, 4 strikeouts, was, putrid as putrid could be, and they still scored 7 runs. So that was number one. I thought was amazing. Number two, you're going to hear Richard says we all listen to baseball games in our younger days, and the transistor radio. It's exactly right, man. And the car radio and stuff. Oh, man, I just love that.
That's where I was going to interject for a second. When I was a kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, I had a bedroom in the basement, and I had the transistor radio right there. I had to fall asleep to the radio. The noise, and I always had a sporting event or something on back then. To this day, I'll be 60 in November. I fall asleep with the TV on, or I have my Sirius radio right next to me. But just, the soothing voices of Vin Scully. We grew up, we were fortunate enough to have some great broadcasters here. Don Osillo now with the Padres. You brought up Johnny Miller. My point is, I got home last night. I have a weekly meeting I attend on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wife's in bed. Dogs are in bed. I'm flipping through looking for the baseball game. And I got YouTube TV. I went through 90 stations. I'm like, what the bleep is going on here? I can't find it. Go on social media. It's on Netflix. And because of my kids, my wife, I got everything, Hulu, Netflix, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't even bother. And I'm going to go back to the baseball where I used to sign up for the package. I had DirecTV, and I had the baseball package. The best part of the baseball package for me was going to bed at 10:30 and having 4 boxes, all the West Coast games, and I'd fall asleep slowly. I'd wake up, there's 2 games left, there's 1 game left. Now, with YouTube and the way the package works, I got it for 2 years. Okay? Here's the problem. Every time I go to watch a game, sorry, blacked out. Sorry, blacked out. Sorry, black. So right there in your blackout. I will not buy another package again. Maybe I'm getting old and soft. If the game's on TV, on cable, I'll watch it. Otherwise, get me the transistor radio.
You need the MLB app, man. That's what I got. I watch all of them. I watch them all. I watch every game. It doesn't matter, except for like Netflix, or if it's on Apple TV or something. So anyway, I guess my point is Aaron Judge was awful. The Yankees still won. The Yankees had 10 damn hits. Every person in their lineup had a hit, except for him. And they scored 7 runs. So that's number one. Number two, right? I gave out, which was the biggest bet that I made on this whole weekend, was that game, New York and San Francisco under 7. Well, 7-0, and holy shit, did we have to hang on to get 7-0? And whatever, it's 7-0. I got my money back, and PB tweeted me, or who, I think both of us, and said, hey, Hard Rock was given 7.5. I think I'm going to take that number. Well, shit, 7.5. He's a winner. So here's a couple notes, right? So one term, especially early here, you're going to hear me use game score as a reference point. Game score is James, whatever is his name. What's that guy's name? James, the guy that did all the baseball work.
You'll come in. Yeah, I know who you're talking. James.
I'm like, how do I not know this guy? Like that's all I'd study is his work. Anyway, he came up with a thing called game score. Well, Fangraphs has a thing called game score number 2. And basically what this does is it evaluates a pitching performance. And it's based on a scale of how many innings did he go, how many hits did he allow, how many strikeouts did he get, how many walks did he have, how many home runs did he give up, all that kind of thing. But the point of the whole thing is it characterizes them in a way that if you're an average Major League Baseball pitcher, a game score, Bill James, there you go. Thank you. Man, that's just bad on my part. I'm just so old with names and stuff anymore. So game score 50, game score 51. That's an average number. Well, ace pitchers, and I mean ace pitchers, the best pitchers in baseball, their game score average game score for a season, 32 starts, is over 60. So 60 is a huge number. So, and then you can even have game scores that are minus. I mean, you see a guy goes out there and he gets lit up in the first inning and, gives up 5 or 6 runs and, 4 or 5 hits and home run stuff. He's going to end up with a negative number. So you over the course of a year, you're going to balance this stuff out. And that's when I say regression to the mean, I'm using game score as the numbers to identify these regression spots. So the first 2 or 3 starts, 4 starts of a Major League Baseball season, I'm looking for the outliers. I'm looking for the games that they pitch a game score 70 or 80. They have a huge number, or they have a terrible number like a game score 20 or a game score 30, which is well below what they normally do. Well, Logan Webb is a game score 59 pitcher. That means he's one of the best pitchers of all of baseball. Well, he had a rough night, didn't he? He went 5 innings, gave up 7 runs, 6 earned runs. I think he had 9 hits, struck out a few, but the Yankees are going to strike out a lot. So anyway, he had a game score outlier really low, really low. That's a great thing, unless you bet on San Francisco. But it's a great thing for his next start. His next start, it's going to be an outlier high to offset this offset low number. So I've already done a little homework. And looking forward, they play San Diego. In San Diego, he's probably going to be right around pick 'em, if not dog, at San Diego against Pavetta or King or somebody. And he's going to be way better than those 2 pitchers. And this lineup is not the Yankees lineup. He's going to go down there and he's going to dominate that lineup and he's going to blow the doors off of that. And we're going to get a great price to really backfill this start. So that's 2 things. And then the third thing I thought when I'm listening to this game is Willie Adames, boy, I don't think he helped that team much at all yesterday. He's the guy that came up in the first inning when they had guys on first and third with only 1 out and struck out. You can't strike out there. You have to make contact of some sort. Certainly you don't want to have a double play, but you need to get a run there. And he didn't do anything. He struck out, right? And then the
Jung Ho.
The Chung Lee guy, Korean guy, he came up and hits a hard ball to the second baseman and out, and then they don't score. And then Max Fried goes and says, okay, I've relaxed. And, man, he just blows them away. Well, looking at the data on this game and looking at the pitching data, I was surprised at what I saw from Max Fried. He didn't have his best stuff. And I was surprised because his performance was good. But that's what you get sometimes. I'll say this over and over. John Smoltz says it. When you and I know everybody hates it when I use John Smoltz, but John Smoltz says, you make 32 starts. So let's just say 30 to make it even. 30 starts in a season. 10 of those starts, you're going to have all your good stuff. You're going to have the best stuff you have. 10 of those starts are going to be, you don't have nothing. You got to figure out how to get through it. And then in the middle starts, you're going to have some stuff and not others. Well, one of his best pitches is a slider and a curveball, and he hardly even threw them because he couldn't do anything with them. So he threw his cutter. He was big on his cutter yesterday. His fastball velocity was down a little bit. But don't be surprised to see that as things really, really start to, these guys aren't totally stretched out. They're not totally ramped up. The biggest surprise, I think, was Logan Webb is a 92, 93 mile an hour fastball guy. He was that way in the first inning. He hasn't had these problems prior to last night because I charted all. When he was pitching in the WBC and all that stuff, he didn't have this. He was in 90, 91 range as that game went on. And if I look at it really close, let me see. I'll see. Where is it? He threw, there it is. He was throwing 92-4 in the first inning, 91-4, 91, 90.8, 90.4. Look, if you get to 91 and below, bell's got to go off. This is the danger zone. Hitters are going to crush the crap out of you. You've got to throw harder than that. So guys that are, I don't care if they're Logan Webb or whoever they are, if they're used to throwing 93, 94, and you're only throwing 90, 91, you have to adjust on the fly as best you can, and maybe he tried. I know that a lot of those base hits that the Yankees got at the times were off-speed pitches, especially the 5-run inning. There was a section, I'm looking at my numbers, and I'm looking at the thing, and I'm going, wait, Jesus Christ, that's a changeup. Oh, Jesus Christ, they just ripped another changeup. Would you quit throwing changeup? He just hit another changeup, 4 straight. And then 5 out of the 6 base hits were off changeups or a sweeper, so slow pitches. So I think, pitch mix and different things. He wasn't finding it last night. He knew his fastball wasn't good, so he's trying to do other things. And like the ball's got to move. I don't care if you throw a fastball; it's got to move. So for those of you who don't understand, when there's seams on a ball and you throw it, the air circulation and how you move it out of your fingers and what you do with your wrist and stuff will move the ball. So it's not going to go straight. When you say a fastball, you think that ball's coming in here straight. It's not straight. I'm telling you, if you go stand in the batter's box and it's a Major League Baseball player and he's throwing a fastball at you, I will tell you right now, let's see. Well, it doesn't really tell you, does it? The average fastball for what's his name? Was vertical break was 12 inches. That's run on the ball. Well, the plate's 16 inches wide, so his run on the ball was almost as big as the plate. That's how much the ball's moving on his fastball, and that's Logan Webb last night. Just looking at the numbers. So anyway, I guess my point to you is, as we get going here and the next starts, one of the things you're going to hear me talk a lot about is regression and game score. And I just want to make sure I hammer that home, because most people are going to go and go, well, he didn't throw very good last time, I'm not going to bet on him. No. Go jump on him, or jump on him as fast as you can, because I can prove it. If you guys want me to, I can go look at his go look at his game log from last year, and it's going to come up, and he's going to have bad days. And I guarantee you, well, I've already looked a little bit, but I guarantee you that when he has a bad start, the next start is a phenomenal start. And that's what aces really have. But the one caveat to this whole thing is, if an ace throws really good, like Max Fried did last time, he can still throw pretty good next time. So don't that's what they do. They back start all that stuff over and 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 over. Anyway, my thoughts on the game were the Yankees scored a lot of runs. Aaron Judge didn't do anything. That's a good sign for the Yankees. Great spot now looking ahead for the next time that Logan Webb starts. And I also thought that there was the Giants looked sloppy. I didn't think they looked good. They threw the ball away a couple times. They threw it and hit runners that were running and stuff like that. And in Major League Baseball, you can't have that kind of stuff. They got to hit cutoff man right. They got to throw the right base. Guys do this all the time in Major League Baseball, so it doesn't surprise me. Anyway, that's where my stand on that game is. I was 0-2 because I bet on San Francisco plus the 1.5. And I'll tell you this too. When I went back and looked, you know how many times Logan Webb's given up 7 runs in his career? Just as a guess, he's given up 7 runs 2 other times in his entire career. He's given up 6 a lot, but 7. Well, 2 years ago he gave up 7, and when he first started as a rookie in 2019, he gave up 8 runs. In one of his, I don't know, I think he had like 9 starts or something like that. In one of those 9 starts, he gave up 8 runs. So this is a very odd thing to happen. And so the under is a great play. Just didn't work out. Baseball happens that way. And truth be told, had the first baseman or the shortstop on the ground ball that was hit that was a double play, throw the ball to the first baseman on the fly instead of a short hop where he had to go and kind of scoop it and knocked it up in the air and flipped it away a little bit, and the Yankees scored their run on an unearned run. It was 6-0. We win. So that's how baseball is. You have all kinds of weird shit that happens in these games, and whatever. I didn't bet a lot of money on these games at the start, so I'm 0-2 because I bet San Francisco to stay within the game, and there's value on Webb, so I bet him, and then I bet the under bigger. I bet the under, the biggest bet I had. So I got all that money back. I would have liked to won, but at the same time, at least I didn't lose. So I'm good going into today with all the other stuff we got going on. There's lots of games, and I got lots of bets.
Before we get to the board, you've already talked 2 days ago about Skeens versus Peralta. That's going off in about 45 minutes. We'll get to that, and then the rest of your board today. I have to ask you one thing. Of course, now on social media, there's guys out there with the weather, the wind, and everyone's waiting for the wind. And my overnight metrics and some of the sources I used, there was something sticking out like a sore thumb, and it was the Cubs team total today, over 4.5. The overnight number on that game was 8.5 juice to the under. Well, the wind comes in and 10 to 15 miles an hour blowing dead center in, center to right. That over under has moved to 7, now 6.5 at your Hard Rock and ESPN. Cubs still minus 200. Then I look at my team totals, and they didn't move the Cubs. It's now 4.5 juiced under minus 145. So if I had the over 4.5, I can get them at plus 125. So they have to get to 5. My question to you is, again, I know we'll be doing a lot of Friday afternoon games, and the Cubs are the first game. Wind blowing out, dead center, 15-20. The over-under is 12.5, 13, and they got 15 runs scored in the first 4 innings. Early season, colder weather, pitching in front of the hitting. How much do you use in that? And am I a fool to still be eyeing the Cubs to get to 5 or better today?
No, I think there's a lot of things here. I think the number one thing that I would say about the weather is people like to use the wind a lot to handicap their totals. It takes a lot of wind, Jeff. You got to be sustained wind, not gusts. You got to be sustained winds near 20 to really affect a baseball game. I get it. 15 is still pretty strong, but minimum near 20. And the reason I say that is because what people don't realize is humidity level is the number one effect of baseball games in scoring. And the way weather works at this time of year, the air is more dense the ball physically won't fly as far because the air is more dense. And that's why in Colorado or in Arizona or some of these other places you go, the air's lighter, so the ball flies better. In the hot of Texas, for example, in the summertime, the air is light as heck. It flies. It's almost like pew, there it goes. So nowadays, when it's colder and stuff, the ball, the guy might hit a ball as hard as he can hit it, and it gets out to the warning track and doesn't get out, and they'll go, well, it's the wind. Well, it's really not. It can be a combined effect, I suppose, but it's really the density of the air. And it used to be, and I don't know now because I don't really go into that as much as I used to, but it used to be that you could get a reading on the density of the air at every game. And if you can get that and understand what that air density number is and how it affects the ball and the carry on the ball, then in a lot of cases you're going to be better off. But guys can play in the wind. In football, right? We always sit there and go, well, you can't throw the ball in the wind when it's really windy. Well, watch them guys. They end up throwing the ball a lot. Well, that's where the NFL's become. Now, does it affect deep passes? Probably. I remember watching one of those games, maybe it's a playoff game. The guy's trying to kick field goals and the ball's going, and it's like a moving target at the end. But so some of that stuff can be affected. But I would tell you that so San Francisco's ballpark, it has a ozone layer around ozone layer. I don't remember what it's called now, but it's got a Bay Area roll in that comes off the bay, and that's dense air. It's hard to hit home runs. It's a very pitcher friendly ballpark. The Yankees scored 7 runs yesterday, didn't hit a home run. The Yankees, they scored 7 runs, didn't hit a home run. It's unbelievable. And the other part that was unbelievable was who got all the hits. The guys at the bottom of the order, for God's sakes. So as you start to think about what the Cubs game might look like, it might look a lot like what yesterday's game did in a sense of, it's colder, it's more dense air, the ball doesn't fly as far. So there needs to be a lot of hits. And the other part that I think people miss when they look at this stuff is if you really want to understand how wind can affect a game, you got to understand what kind of pitcher that you're facing. So Cade Cavalli's pitching in Washington, for Washington in that game. His ground ball percentage rate is 49.9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 pitchers. Well, that includes last night. 7 pitchers, including last night, on the sheet that are green, top 25% in ground ball pitching. Cade Cavalli is one of them. So if he keeps the ball off the bat in a low profile, how's the wind going to affect the game at all? So they're going to need line drives and singles through the ground, stuff like that. Now, if he's a big fly ball pitcher, and there are guys that are that, a lot of times the harder you throw, the easier it is for a batter to get a piece of it and just pop it up, and it becomes a fly ball. I don't think there's 2 of them. 1, 2, no, there's 3. So fly ball pitchers today are Joe Ryan, Abbott in Cincinnati, and Pavetta. Those are the fly ball pitchers today. So as you kind of determine kind of what pitching style and what the pitcher's trying to do to get you out, you got to sort of match that up a little bit to what kind of offensive style you have. And my opinion would be is I don't think that number should be. I wouldn't. If you like Chicago as a team total over, I wouldn't stop you from betting it. Even with the wind, Now, if the wind was, 25 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, just boring in on them, that's a different story. But I think that I think there's a couple other notes here. Kate Cavalli is a strange situation in a sense that he's now the ace. Well, I shouldn't say that. He's the number one pitcher. Now he's not an ace. He's the number one pitcher for the Nationals. He had a really good spring. He's throwing harder than he's ever thrown before. His ball's moving more than he's ever thrown before. That's all really good stuff. So I expect him to be a better pitcher than he was. His projections still don't show real good. But he's facing Boyd. That lineup's terrible. Everybody can talk to me all they want to about James Wood. I think James Wood's a good player. I know he had a great season. He hit 30 home runs and stuff. When I see him play and I watch him play, I see a lot of holes in his swing, but we'll see. Maybe I'm just not, that good at some of that stuff that those guys are better at. So I don't like their lineup. But this is a minus 200 game. I'm not going to play him on the run line. I just didn't play this game. I thought it was kind of priced more right than not. And I don't see the value in the play, but I don't mind. If you want to bet team total over 4.5, I think the Cubs can score. Especially, I think the Nationals might have the worst bullpen in the league.
Opening day, Tuesday, you already talked about Skeens and your action there. What I'm going to do now, Scotty, is as people are still piling in, come on over to Twitter at EC Sports Invest, at Webby20MLB. Like PB and everyone else, if you can do us a solid, just retweet the show. That's all. We're trying to build this up. As we've said, we've been doing shows for the last 6-8 weeks on baseball, WBC, getting you ready for today. We got about 100 people piling in here on X. After the show, we get about 250. It is what it is. We want to add a zero by, the All-Star break where we got, 500, 1,000 people watching this live and, 2,000-3,000 after the show. But Scotty, what I want to do now is, again, we got about 45 minutes to first pitch, Mets in Pittsburgh. Go back, tell everyone where your eyes are on that game and, of course, the rest of the slate and what you see.
Yeah, I think, when we talked before, my plan was, I didn't know if we were going to get on before this game started or not. But you don't have an opportunity to bet Paul Skeens at these prices very often, A, and B, Paul Skeens is a dominant pitcher. I mean, he is 295 xFIP number. Okay. And we talked about xFIP the last time, and I'll tell you what it is again. It's fielding independent pitching, but the X is the, what they think it's going to be, right? It's the future one. It's not what FIP is. So FIP is fielding independent pitching. So what is fielding independent pitching? That means that all they're looking at is strikeouts, walks, and home runs. That's it. So if a pitcher goes out on the mound and he can limit walks, get a whole bunch of strikeouts, and have no home runs, he's going to win that game. So it's fielding. Basically, it's a pitcher's ability to throw the game without a defense. But it looks like an earned run average. It's kind of what it is. So it looks that way. So if you look at him, he's a 295. There is only 2 other pitchers going today that are under 3 in projected numbers. And you'll know who they are. It's Skubal and Crochet. Those 3 pitchers are a tier above every other pitcher in Major League Baseball. Those 3 guys. If you get the opportunity to bet those 3 guys, use them almost exclusively. Hey, Jason Barry, how are you, buddy? So as we're doing these things and you kind of look at them, you really got to look at pitching matchups and go, okay, well, here's a perfect example. Paul Skeens is a 5 WAR guy, right? There aren't 6 WAR guys this year, so projected numbers. He's a 5. Well, there's 3 of them. Maybe 4. I think Logan Webb might have been a 5 yesterday at some places. Anyway, point being is he's a 5 WAR guy. The best of baseball can be Cy Young type performances. Well, he's going against Freddie Peralta. Well, Freddie Peralta is a 2.6 kind of guy. He's half the pitcher that Paul Skeens is. And what's your line on this game? I get it. Pittsburgh's not quite as good as the Mets. The Mets are probably the second best team in the National League. But a pitcher, you saw it last night, a pitcher can eliminate an offense altogether. So you can get Paul Skeens plus, well, I bet it. I got Paul Skeens at plus 10, whatever it was. I'm looking plus 106, plus 107, something like that. But the interesting thing is I also, because when you look at the first 5, he's the favorite. Okay. They're not favorites in the game, but he's a favorite in the first 5 innings. I didn't play it on the money line. I played it on the run line minus a half a run. And I got that at, I think a decent number. I think he was still favored in that too. So whatever, it is what it is. It's a small number. So when you have the pitching edge, you're better off than having the offensive edge. Now, I will say that as we get going along, and in about a week or so, I'm going to start using offensive data from this season, 7-day cycles. Anyway, the point being is as we go along, the best pitchers will shut down a good offense, but the best pitchers don't pitch that often. They pitch on opening day because, that's when they are. So as they kind of go to the next guy, they might be good, but they're not the best. And a good offense can take advantage of some of that stuff. So we'll look for some of those things. So anyway, I bet Pittsburgh first 5 minus a half a run. I bet Pittsburgh money line. And there's a lot to it that basically just says Paul Skeens you got to ride Paul Skeens. So those are the bets I made. We kind of already did that game, so we'll move on to the other games coming up. The White Sox and Brewers game, in terms of price point, I think the price is probably pretty close to being right. I don't think there's a lot of value in the play. Mizorowski has his good moments. If I told you that Mizorowski was a game score for the season last year, game score 52, that means he's just barely above average. The average, remember, is 50-51. He's a 52. He's going to face Smith from the White Sox. Guess what his game score was? 52. So what does that mean? That means theoretically they're the same pitcher. So you're going to be betting on Milwaukee's offense to handle Smith, and you're going to be betting against the White Sox offense to handle Mizorowski. And I will tell you that there's also a common knowledge thing. When a pitcher faces an offense, and generally it's the first time that the offense has seen the pitcher has the advantage. I mean, yes, they've seen him on video, and yes, but they haven't seen him live. So they haven't seen the stuff move. They haven't seen, how it comes out of his release point out of his hand, and haven't seen how far he stretches down. They haven't seen it. So because of that, they're generally behind. Well, Mizorowski hasn't pitched against the White Sox. So they're going to be a little bit behind in this game. Another note, by the way, Jackson Churio was put on the DL today. So he's not going to be in the lineup for, a couple more weeks, a 10-day, 15-day DL, whatever it is. So he's not going to play for them right now. But they, watching the WBC and they got some guys that can hit. And I hope people have come around on Bryce Terang, because that guy can hit. And you can see him play. So he's a Brewer. So we'll see how all that kind of plays out for them. See what Christian Yelich does, because I don't think that team's going to be, as good without, the pitching that they have. Woodruff is hurt. Now he's going to pitch, but he hasn't ramped up, and he's their best pitcher. He's not pitching today, because his last outing, he only went like 40 pitches and he threw 89 miles an hour. You got to throw more than that, but he's going to pitch the 5th start because he got pushed back a little bit. So you're going to see Woodruff pitch in that role. Maybe that helps him because, he's going to be pitching against, number 5s for everybody else. But anyway, I didn't bet that game. I talked a little bit about Boyd and Cavalli. Cavalli's going to be better, but I don't know that that's better good enough for the Nationals. The Nationals are the 2nd worst team in the National League, and that's only because the National League has the Rockies. I would tell you that the Nationals are as good as the White Sox. The White Sox 2 years ago were the worst team in all of baseball, set records. Last year, Colorado said, "Hold my beer. We want to be the worst team of all of in all of that." Well, now Colorado is still the worst team, but the White Sox are getting better. The White Sox probably are going to pass where the Nationals are and get out of that hole. But the White Sox, I don't think, are going to get past the Angels in the American League. I think the Angels are still better than the White Sox, but we'll see. They got to have pitching. And Smith has had not a great offseason or spring. His velocity's down, his movement's down. So I don't like to go back a pitcher that velocity's down on. So I wouldn't go that route because I think Milwaukee can hit him. And Mazeroski's a 100-mile-an-hour guy. So we'll see how long that sustains for him and how much juices he's got going as an opening day starter. And guys, if you have questions, drop them in because, some of these games I don't have bets on, and I'm just kind of briefly going over some of them. The next game is the weirdest game for me. My numbers show the best value on any of the games is the Minnesota Twins today. Minnesota plays with Joe Ryan against Rogers for Baltimore. Everybody's going to say, "But Scott, Baltimore Rogers, oh my God, he was so good." Okay, look him up. Just go back and look. He had one good season prior to last year's, sort of back in 15 starts that he had that were good. Prior to that, he had one good season. Every other season was no good. And it was so bad that he was a number 5 guy and barely holding on to a rotation spot. So he's looked good in spring. So don't think that's where I was going. Joe Ryan's not that guy. Joe Ryan's been a number 1, number 2 guy forever. He was a Ray, by the way, to start, and then got moved along. I don't remember what the deal was, but he got moved along, and now he's pitched really well for the Twins. Now, I think that the Orioles are overvalued and overpriced. So I would tell you, if you like the Orioles, find a different way to pay for them. But here's what I will say: the Twins bullpen's not very good. The Twins offense has not been very good. And then you run into Joe Ryan, who's had a back issue and he's not stretched out. So he's not going to go deep into this game. So that sort of eliminated in my mind where my numbers came back and said, "Hey, there's a lot of value on Minnesota today." And I backed way off. I didn't even bet it. So even though my number said it might be the best value of the day, I think there's reason enough in Joe Ryan's back and his performance not to.
Richard asks, Scott, do you prefer to lay runs when the team is a big favorite, such as the Dodgers today?
Well, I will tell you that I looked at the Dodgers game, and one of the key issues is in that game is Yamamoto is really good, and I don't think Arizona is going to score much off of Yamamoto, and Gallen. He wasn't good last year, and he has his times when Gallen is good. And if you think back and you really think about Zach Gallen, one of the things that were good about him was when he pitched at home. I just remember you wanted to pitch or bet on him at home and be like, okay, when he's on the road, he gets slammed. But for whatever reason at home, he's really good. Well, last year wasn't quite that way. He wasn't that good last year. His velocity's ticked up in spring training, so he's pitching better. Now, so the overall question basically says is, do you prefer to lay runs when a team is a big favorite? So the answer to that question is yes. I don't want to play big money line numbers. Now, as opposed to laying big money line numbers, I don't want to play minus 200, even if my system says it's minus 250. I really don't, because I'm not getting good return on the value unless, look, I don't know you, Richard. So don't forgive me if I don't understand. But if you bet $2,000 in a game and you bet minus 200, okay, you're going to get $1,000 back if you win. I don't mind getting $1,000 back at all. And if you can look at the one side of that and go, well, yeah, Yamamoto is going to shut down Arizona and Gallen's not. Well, maybe you want to play the money line, and I'm okay with that if you have that kind of betting opportunity. If you're a $50 guy and you're out betting $50 to win 25, just pass on it. It's not worth your time. So you'd be better off to play the run line in those situations, or you would be better off to try to find a first five minus a half a run, or you would be better off to try to find a team total to bet on, because that changes the bet a little bit. But you're going to see some of these bets that I make are a little bit correlated. I shouldn't say a little bit. They're correlated to the idea that when you have an edge, bet the edge as far as you can bet it. So if you think that the Dodgers offense is going to be good and they're going to score, enough runs to cover two, then bet the run line. But if you have enough money to make it worth your time, and you see these things on Twitter all the time, I'm not gonna tell you that it's wrong that if you have $2,000 to bet $2,000 to get $1,000 back, because if you return that $1,000 in your hand, that's a good number. Now, having said that, this is day one. As we go along, there's going to be more data to really answer this question in a better way, in a sense of finding the right spots to maybe go, hey, the big favorite play might be better than the run line play here. However you want to do it.
And I'll interject with that, because me and Scotty go back and forth on this, and here's been my take since day one, January 1st, 2015, and we're in year number 11. And just my take on home team run lines versus road team run lines. And the fact of the matter is, the Dodgers are a perfect example. You're never going to get anything gifted on the Dodgers. They're a lightning rod, just as the Yankees are. So every time you run to the window to play the Dodgers run line at home, well, you're only guaranteed 8 at bats or 24 outs. Because if the Dodgers bat in the 9th inning, that means they're either tied, down a run, down 2 runs, yada, yada, yada. So therefore, you're going to need a walk-off 2-run homer, 3-run homer, or a grand slam to cover that run line. That's number one. When they're on the road, they're guaranteed the 27 outs. So they're going to get 27 bites at that apple. So I like road run lines because I'm not shortening my guaranteed outs. That's number one. Scotty brought up 2 great points. Well, what about the Dodgers' first 5 minus the hook? Okay, so the first 5 minus the hook today, if you think that's your pitching edge right now, first 5 minus the hook, you're going to pay a premium. It's minus 60 cents. You're not paying the minus 2 to 1 the 220 or whatever, but you are laying 60 cents. A tie, you lose. If they're losing outright, you lose, but you're only laying the 60 cents there. And last but not least, the team totals. And again, they're not going to give you anything. The under over is 9 here. The Dodgers team total is 5 and a hook. They got to get a touchdown. They don't need the extra point. They don't need the 2-point conversion. But here's the caveat on the Dodgers getting at 6 or better today. You're getting plus 108. You're not minus 200. You're not minus 250 or even minus the 60 cents on the first 5. So the Dodgers team total to get to 6 or better is plus 108. So again, we've been talking years about this, and it's day one. Great question, Richard. Thank you so much. Keep them coming, guys. But again, there's a million ways to peel this onion in baseball. A million ways. And the team totals have been great to us for the last handful of years. The first 5s, if I get a pitching edge and I don't have to worry about the bullpen, and I just have to be winning after 5, minus the hook. Sometimes you get plus money on that. That's a lot of the times the way I go here. But again, great question, Richard.
Yeah, I think you want to hammer your edge, right? So where you think that is, you bet into it. Jeff mentioned, if you've got a pitching edge, lean into it. Bet it every way you can. Bet team totals under for the other side, whatever it is, just ride that out and correlate it all together. And you'll end up with more bets, but you'll also end up with strong, logical bets that make sense. If that makes sense. So here's this game that I'm going to talk about. It's a perfect example of certain things that you want to do and certain things you don't. So this game is the Boston-Cincinnati game. Maybe, I don't know. Did I spend enough time on that Minnesota-Baltimore stuff? Maybe I did. Maybe I did. Okay. So this game is Boston and Cincinnati. And first of all, what I'm going to tell you is I bet this game. I bet Crochet in the first 5 innings, and I bet him on the run line. I did not bet him on the money line. I just bet him on the run line. So, and I did not bet Cincinnati. I didn't bet Boston on the run line or money line either. And I didn't bet it full game. So why didn't I do that? Well, let's first talk about Boston. Boston, looking at that team, they are offensively challenged. They can score a lot of runs, but they're missing Bregman, and Devers is gone, so they don't really have that big bat in the offense. But they can still score runs, and they score a lot of runs. They're one of those good teams that way. And they got Crochet on the mound, so you don't expect the Reds to score a whole lot. I don't expect the Reds to score a whole lot, even though I think offensively the Reds are more improved this season. So here's where the caveat comes into play. You've got Crochet and Abbott, right? So I said at the beginning, there's 3 pitchers today that have a projected xFIP number under 3. Crochet's one of them. He's going to be your edge, right? He's going to be the ace. He's going to shut teams down, especially if he's on. Man, he's going to be great. So ride that as far as you can ride it. Well, you want to bet the money line. You want to bet all the other stuff. Well, the money line got expensive. And then you start thinking about run line. So if you start to think about that, then you got to start thinking about the other pitcher. So I kind of preface this in a sense that Boston's offense isn't quite as good as maybe it was. I don't think it's as good as it was last year, but, we'll see how it kind of comes out. I think their pitching might be better. Not sold on Ranger Suarez yet, but we'll see how it all goes. But as you go, one of the new features that I'm using this year is RE24. Okay, and Jeff likes to think of it as a energy drink. Now the purpose of this is RE24 is a component of WPA, and I get it. These are all just weird acronyms, but WPA is win percent added. So how good this pitcher is adding by himself to winning the game. And Crochet last year, where is it? There he is, 4.93. Okay. That is second highest, only to Paul Skeens. So he helps his team win, second best to anybody in Major League Baseball. Holy crap, that's a great thing to think about. Abbott, I don't think people realize this. Abbott, he was a 2.94. That's not that far off. Now, it's not, you got to think of it. You got the best in baseball, and then you got to have a drop off. Well, he drops off. But the component of RE24 is the run suppression part of this. Well, you got to figure Crochet's is really good, right? Well, it's 44.74 to give you a scale. Skeens is 52. So it's not that bad. It's really, really good. It's great run suppression number. Well, would you believe that Abbott is 28.03? And if I were to tell you that's better than Fried and Webb, it's better than Fried and Webb. So what that means is, as guys get on base and as things happen, Abbott's a bulldog. He fights and fights and fights. So I don't think this is going to be a situation where the Red Sox go out there and just run all over this team. I think they're going to go out there and win a game. I'm going to bet my edge. I'm going to bet on Crochet. But when Crochet comes out of the game, they don't have that same edge. As these, and you saw it a little bit last night, maybe. The relief pitchers, they're not ramped up yet. Chapman's not up to 100 miles an hour right now. Now, maybe he will be today because it's opening day and whatever, and you got the juices flowing. But I think this is going to be a tighter game. I only wanted it in the first 5 because I thought that was where the value was. That's why I played it this way. As the season progresses, and if we see that Boston can score lots of runs, and it doesn't really matter, that they don't have Bregman and this and that and the other, and Roman Anthony's going crazy, and some of the other kids are they doing all kinds of crazy stuff and just smashing the ball and scoring runs. Well, okay, I won't worry about it so much. But I didn't like the matchup in a sense of a blowout. So when I think I have to cover runs, I think blow them out. Or in the first 5 innings, I just want to win the first 5. And my edge is Crochet. And Crochet also, by the way, he is a top 25%, whip guy, walks plus innings divided by innings pitched. So guys on base. Batting average guy. He's an average batting average guy. So, guys are going to hit him a little bit. I think as you kind of go through all this, as the data starts coming in, we'll see some of this stuff. Ken Magner says, back from Vegas and the NFBC drafts, no better way to enjoy the start MLB season than listening to Scott Webb and J-Dog. Yankee fans crying, what's wrong with Judge? Well, maybe so. But, it's a long season, day one. So we'll see what happens.
Kenny, thank you so much. I was living through your pictures while you were in Vegas. As always, saw you at the South Point. Congrats on the success in the horse contest. Rooting hard for you. Before you know it, we'll be talking Kentucky Derby. Be waiting for your emails on who you like there. Wishing you nothing but the best in your NFBC drafts as well. Thank you so much for all the love and support, brother.
So as we move forward, looking at the next game, you got Soriano and Brown. Now, here was another thing, Richard, I should probably talk about with your one question about the Dodgers in Arizona. Listen, when you're playing divisional teams, these teams know each other. They batted against each other 8 million times. They know the pitchers. it's harder to kind of walk out that way and go, hey, we're going to blow these teams out. So this is one of these spots where I have a hard time with this game. I know Houston's a big favorite. Brown's a really good pitcher. And it was really eye-opening to me. Brown last year, game score 61. That's pretty damn good. I thought it would be a high 50s, not 60. But Brown was 61 last year. He was better than Framber Valdez. He was better than, any other pitcher they had. Soriano, he was a 51. 51, that's average. He's an average pitcher. So you got a huge pitching edge when it comes to that matchup between Brown and Soriano. Now, I will tell you that Soriano has handled the offense let me go over here and look. Soriano, where are they? There they are. Soriano has done pretty well. Christian Walker's 333 against him, but most of those guys, they see him a lot. They don't hit him that well. And unfortunately, I'm looking at my Substack report because the other stuff, I erased it this morning. I got Friday's data in it already. So anyway, it is what it is. So when you look at this, Soriano's a strikeout guy. He throws hard. He's either on or he's off. If Soriano is on, he can pitch like an ace. He can pitch well, but he has a command problem. He's one of the only pitchers that has a walk issue, 9.9% walk rate. That's there's only 3 pitchers on the board today that have a bad walk rate. He's one of them. The other 2 are Smith and Mizorowski in the same game with the White Sox and the Brewers. So he has a problem there. So that creates a whip issue. So walks plus innings divided by pit, all this stuff. So you got guys on base all the time, which gives Houston kind of an edge there. And it's at Houston. Brown's a better pitcher, but it's a divisional game. I didn't like the price. I did not go this route. I think there's 2 overrated teams. And I talked about them on our preview show. Houston's one of them. Yeah, Houston's going to have to prove their offense to me. Yordan Alvarez has to be a hero for me to really like that team. And he can be. I mean, he can go hit 40 home runs, 35 home runs, and drive in 100 and be a hero. Because you forget, how good he is. So if he returns to that caliber of a player, they're going to be good. But if he's just kind of an average guy, they got a whole bunch of older average guy. Altuve's not that good anymore. Carlos Correa's, I don't know why they got Carlos Correa. They're overpaying for him. So, what do they got? They got some youthful guys. They don't have much on offense anymore. So their outfield's terrible. So I look at them and go, Valdez is gone. You got Mike Burrows, who's going to pitch the second game for them. Mike Burrows is going to Mike Burrows for Houston is going to Mike Burrows. I keep thinking the other team, but he's going to pitch. He's from Pittsburgh. He's going to pitch the second game against Kikuchi. And I can, if Kikuchi pitches good, Kikuchi's going to be really, really a good spot. So we'll see what that all kind of breaks down and looks like. I don't like the Astros, so I'm hard to say I want to bet this offense against that on the run line. So I passed on that game. I will go to a game I did bet. This is Detroit. This is San Diego. These are the bets that I made. I bet Detroit minus a half run in the first 5 innings. I bet Detroit minus 136. Jeff, what is it now? Is it much higher than 136?
Actually, some money trickled in on the Bulldog Pavetta right now at the Circa. Good afternoon to Mr. Benson and Mr. Stevens. Scooble minus 120, Padres plus 108, a flat 7 across the board.
And I bet under 7. So I bet 3 bets, right? So I leaned into Scooble in this game, and I leaned into sort of A.J. Hinch and how he manages the bullpen in this game. And again, you have 3 pitchers with the edges today, and it doesn't matter what the other guy is. But in this case, you got a 2.90 xFIP against a 3.94. So 3.94 is not the highest because there are some guys with 4s out there. But kind of gives you an idea a little bit. Now, Pavetta's kind of a bulldogish kind of pitcher too, but there is nobody more bulldog out there on the mound than Skubal is. So and Skubal's a big, huge strikeout guy. And, what does San Diego do? They strike out a lot. So I like that. Rise isn't there anymore. He's the guy that didn't strike out for that team. So you're going to count on Ramon Laureano to have this great big season like he did last year. Well, I think that's a fallacy getting ready to happen. And everybody sits there and says, well, Fernando Tatis is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, he hasn't yet. He's been great, but he hasn't been superstar. I shouldn't say superstar. He hasn't been MVP, right? It's very hard to say about a guy and say that he's not a good player. He's a good player. I like Fernando Tatis Jr., especially when I bet on him. And I want him to do really good, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, when I bet against him, I don't mind him coming up in spots because he's not super clutch or any of that kind of stuff. So anyway, you got Skubal. His game score last year, 65. Holy crap, 65. That means every single start he averages a 65. 65. So that means there's a lot of times he's going to be well over 65, a couple times under. He is going to be so hard to beat, and that's just the way it is. And you have Pavetta's a 59, so that's right up there. That's a good pitcher. It's not a bad pitcher. You got a 30% strikeout rate for Skubal, and he don't walk anybody, a 5% walk rate. So he's not going to put guys on base. You're going to have to get base hits to beat him. And we just said, hey, look at what Crochet's numbers were, and then you have the same issue. Run suppression, 43.61 for Skubal. Now, ideally, what we're going to do is there's an RE24 number for team offense, and we're going to look at this and go, hey, offense, let's match these up. When you have an offense that can't score and a pitcher that keeps the team from scoring, that's totals low, that's run scoring low, and then vice versa. If you've got a pitcher that isn't very good at RE24 run suppression, then you're going to have an offense that is exploding at scoring runs. We want to capitalize on. We're going to see that, and we're going to match that up, and we're going to bet those things. But I don't have that yet because we don't have data. We have data for one game. So as we move forward here, I think that when you look at this, one of the big things that I saw was Pavetta's a fly ball pitcher. Now Petco Park is a park that is designed for pitchers. It's not a big home run hitting park. So you have a big edge with one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in baseball. And it's a run suppression advantage, and you have a spot where also you have a field, a stadium, where it helps and benefits the pitcher. You got to lean into that. So I think I leaned into it every which way I could. I bet the under. I just didn't bet team totals, but I bet the under, and I bet the run line in the first 5, and I bet the money line in that game. The next game is Texas and Philadelphia. I did bet this game. I bet Philadelphia first 5 minus a half run. This is Sanchez. I don't think people really realize how good Sanchez is. Sanchez, he's a game score 63 on the season last year. So that's big time. And he's facing Evaldi, and I don't think people really realize how good he is. He's a game score 64. These are 2 really good pitchers. So why are you doing this? Well, I think the biggest thing that comes out of this is this is a game in Philadelphia. Run suppression wise, you have a better advantage for Sanchez by a little, not a lot, a little. And then you have he's a ground ball guy. Of all the pitchers today, he is so Logan Webb was 54.8% ground ball rate projected, and Sanchez is 54.5. these are big ground ball guys. I can tell you going into tomorrow, the only person who's higher than him is Framber Valdez. Those guys are ground ball guys. They don't give up home runs. And everybody knows Philadelphia's a bandbox. So I think I like the idea that, Philadelphia's going to face a right-handed pitcher. So that means, your Schwarbers and your Harpers are going to be pretty good in these spots. So I like that spot. I don't necessarily like Texas quite yet. I'm trying to figure out if Texas is better than the Astros. I think they are. I think their pitchers are better. But when you really go down through their lineup, they're going to need Corey Seager to be a lot better than he was, and they're going to need Wyatt Langford to be, the superstar kind of guy that he can be. They're going to need a bounce back from Josh Jung. They're going to need these guys to really, really, and they signed McCutchen to kind of come along and say, hey, can you make our team? And he worked for them for 10 days, and now he's going to platoon and be the DH. Look, there's room for these 40-year-old guys on a team like this. Jake Berger's batting fourth. So how good really is this team? I think Philadelphia is a better team. I think Sanchez is the better pitcher. I think you're going to see that a little bit. Evaldi's been good. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he matches up in this spot. So I took the Philadelphia first 5 innings. And then I bet this game, Tampa Bay Rays, Rasmussen against the Cardinals and Liberatore. The bets that I made was Tampa Bay first 5 -0.5. Now this is a smaller total, and when you have smaller totals, you get a little bit of a plus money sometimes on these first 5 numbers. But I bet Tampa Bay there. I bet them on the money line too. So I bet a money line, and I bet them in the first 5 on the run line. You got Rasmussen against Liberatore. Liberatore has been hype forever. Now he was a younger guy, so now we're in a spot where he's kind of developing, he's getting better, but his deal and let me pull this up so I can make sure I say this right. Cardinals. I'm looking at his spring numbers is what I'm looking at. Liberatore's number 1 pitch every game in the spring, because I charted it, wasn't the fastball. It was a slider. So he's changed his pitch mix a little bit. He's going out there to look a little different, to do different things, and he's throwing a slider. His fastball velocity, by the way, 93.9 last year. So, he's a 94-mile-an-hour fastball guy. Nothing overpowering. So I think that's going to be a bad matchup to the Tampa Bay Rays. I think the Rays are going to do better against left-handed pitching. Their lineup is set up to attack left-handed pitching. I don't think people are giving the Rays credit for being a little better on offense than maybe what people thought they were. Maybe, they saw Caminero in WBC and go, oh, my God, who's that guy? They don't realize he hit 45 home runs last year for the Rays. So I think this is a good spot. I think Rasmussen's a much better pitcher. Look, Liberatore is a 2 WAR guy, barely 2. A 1-on-1, 1.8, 1.9 or something for one of the models, and like 2.2 for the other. Rasmussen's higher than that. So you got a pitching edge in Rasmussen. I think you got an offensive edge. Look, I don't know how bad the Cardinals are. When you go down their lineup and you go, well, who's that guy? Who's that guy? What pitcher's that? We'll see how it matches up. I think the Rays are going to be in a better spot here for that game. And then I think where's my numbers? All right, so I talked about where'd we go? I got to get back to there it is. So I didn't bet the Gallen Yamamoto game, but I did bet the Seattle game against Cleveland. I bet Gilbert and Bybee, and I bet Seattle first 5 -0.5 run. And I will tell you that Logan Gilbert is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball when he's healthy. Last year he was not healthy. His spring results show me he's healthy. He's like 2 miles an hour on his fastball better. He's like 96 again. Ball's moving all over the place. So I like the idea that you have that against Tanner Bybee. Tanner Bybee game score 51. He's an average pitcher. He's not the great. He's a negative when it comes to RE24 run suppression. He's a minus 3.27. That means he helps the other team score. So I like Seattle at home in this spot in that regard. So I'm not trying to keep everybody going crazy and kind of wrap this up. That was my bet. So I bet Seattle minus a half a run first 5 with Logan Gilbert as the nightcap. So I made like 13 bets or something like that. I didn't go crazy, but well, that's kind of crazy. But I mean, I didn't go crazy in terms of amounts. So as you're doing these things, pick and choose what you like. I will tell you that I released all this stuff yesterday in my Substack. Every one of these plays was given out. All the data was given out. Just if you want that stuff, here's the idea with the Substack. If you've never dealt with Substack before, I publish articles and it'll come to your email. You don't have to go find it. You don't have to do it. You just have to subscribe to it, and it'll come to you, or anything else you like. And it'll just come to your email box when I put something out, and it'll be daily. Because ideally I'm going to bet daily. So if you want this stuff and you like it, it doesn't cost you anything. Just sign up to that. Makes me think people like what I do. Anyway, that's it for me for today. Unless we got any more questions. I love the interaction today. We had some good questions. Any questions that you guys have about anything, I'll be glad to do my best to answer them. And hopefully, you guys can we can get on a good run and we can make some baseball money together.
I will close with this, Scotty. A lot of the wagers, investment bets, whatever the word you guys want to use in baseball is predicated on what? If you were just listening to this show for the last hour plus, it's the starting pitcher. If you're new to betting baseball, it's unlike any other sport. So my words of wisdom today is this. In COVID, they didn't allow you to list pitchers because they didn't know who the hell was pitching. So it was action. Whoever's pitching, you get what you get. Well, if I'm betting my hard-earned money based on a pitching edge, Yamamoto today, Crochet, Skeens, whoever it may is, when you go to place that wager, make sure you list your pitcher. Because if you don't, you get action. So if, for instance, Yamamoto, all of a sudden, an hour before the game time, ate something wrong and he's on the toilet and he can't pitch and he's scratched for, I don't know, whoever, you're still going to pay that price. You're paying the Yamamoto price of minus 200 or minus a run and a half, however you played it. Therefore, list, it takes an extra 5 seconds. List your pitcher. So if Yamamoto was scratched, Paul Skeens was scratched, Crochet, whoever you wagered on, Logan Gilbert today, they are scratched, the bet is voided. And then you say, God, man, I still would have won. No. Because I'm telling you, in the fourth inning, when they rolled out Jeff Dawson and he gave up 9 in the second, you'll be feeling a lot better. So again, always list your pitchers. Please do yourself that service. Closing thoughts, Scotty.
Timing of baseball is going to get to a point where most of the stuff's going to be in the afternoon, guys. So as I have to compile data works and do the different things as I'm doing these things, I usually start this stuff around 7 o'clock in the morning. That's when Fangraphs updates their information. So as I do it, I fill it all in and get all the stuff done. And then, I have to handicap the games and make the bets and do all that stuff. So it takes me a little while. So I think Jeff and we've talked about this. I think we're going to be doing more, 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock kind of shows. The only time that's going to run into problems is Wednesday, that's usually a travel day. Sometimes Thursday they have these early games. Do my best to get that stuff done and get them in so we can have the shows and talk about them. But as we transition, I was doing 9 o'clock stuff. It's going to be more going forward. You'll see me more in the afternoons if that's your thing. I know the other day we had, I think, 30 live viewers, ended up with 100 because, I think people go catch the show later. Hopefully, we can get to a point where as we find the right time and mechanisms. I don't want to do it right before pitches. Sometimes if I give you information, it gives you enough time to think about your bets and make them how you want them. Or it gives you time to ask me questions or do whatever. Or Jeff. I mean, we're here to help you, both of us. I just do my stuff differently than what Jeff does. But I assure you this, between the two of us, we'll answer your question as best we can, and we'll give you the right information. And I think you'll have a little bit of confidence with what we tell you, how you learn and go from there. So ask away because, I'm willing to help and do everything I can. So anyway, timing of the shows, things like that's going to change a little, more like what we're doing right now. And then we'll move forward from there. I think tomorrow's Friday. There's like 8 games, and the games that don't start till 4:00. I can't do numbers for the games because a lot of the games are playing today will play tomorrow. So I need stuff to update before I can, create my numbers and stuff like that. So it'll probably be an afternoon show tomorrow if we do one.
Well, that's exactly where I was going. People are going to go crazy.
Hey,
and
Pirates,
I already know.
Pirates are ahead. Pirates are ahead already. Pirates.
There'll be trolls on social media like, oh my God, I can't believe, why isn't there a baseball game? Why is there only 8 games tomorrow? Why is the first pitch tomorrow 4:35? Guys, back east, it's still cold. It's not winter, but it's winter/spring. So I am not the commissioner of baseball where all the East Coast teams will either be playing in a dome or they'll be playing out west. I'm sorry, I didn't create the schedule. But my point is, why is there only 8 games? Because if any of these games today was rained out or snowed out, they would then move them to tomorrow. So if anything got scratched, they would move opening day instead of today to tomorrow. So 8 games currently on the docket. First pitch at 4:35. We can do this live right now, Scotty. Would you prefer a 2 o'clock, a 2:30, a 3 o'clock start? Gives you plenty of time. The first pitch is 4:35 tomorrow. You call the shot.
I'll have everything. I've already got the data in for the pitchers. I just need the stuff to update in the morning. So it'll get worse for me as it goes along because I'll be using, pitching data and all the other stuff that I'm not using yet. I can sort of cheat that right this second, but 2 o'clock's fine. I have no issues with 2 o'clock tomorrow. Whatever's best for everybody, but 2 o'clock works for me. I think, I'm just trying to think of doctor's appointments and any other things that I have. I'm trying to schedule that stuff later in the afternoon so I can do, these shows and do a lot of the different stuff to help everybody. But I think 2 o'clock tomorrow will be perfect.
2 o'clock it is. Everyone watching, set that dial. 2 o'clock tomorrow is where it's at. Here is Pittsburgh up 2-0 right now.
Brandon Lowe, 2-run dinger.
Geez, why can't the Rays get guys like that, huh?
O'Neal Cruz, first time up, gets a base hit, and then home run, Brandon Lowe. It's 2-0. And here comes, Paul Skeens, bing, 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 bing. Next time up, let's go Pirates.
I want to give a big shout out to PB, of course. I want to give a shout out to Richard Populus, Jason Berry, of course, Mr. Kenny Magner. Guys, we can't do it without you. Again, we had about 100 people standing room only here on Twitter. We'll get to 250 after everyone's rewatched the show. But as we build this again, we're not the blowhards. We're not ESPN, Fox, all those other guys. It's a totally different show here. I do a lot different. I'm a team total guy. I'm a numbers guy. Scotty is the WOBAs, the algorithms, the vitamin supplements with the B24s and all that other stuff. Guys, I promise you, if you like baseball, we love baseball. We eat, drink, sleep, shit baseball, okay? And the point is, you're going to learn every day. We're not here to entertain. Yeah, we'll crack some jokes and stuff, but we're here to educate. And the more questions that you ask, the more information that we can reply to you with to help not just build your bankroll, but as Scotty likes to always say, to go to the window with conviction. Okay? Because at the end of the week, I'll close with this. At the end of the week, 99.9% of the bettors out there, hey, I lost a couple bucks, but it was just entertainment. That's not how it works here for the 11 years that we've been here. We want to build your bankroll. We want to profit. I like to say we like to win, grin, and profit together, okay? So that's what we're all about here. And again, we've been doing shows here for weeks, just on the WBC. Now we're officially here to opening day, and we're going to take this to the next level because we don't know what's going to happen in 2027. December 5th, the doors get locked, the lights get shut off until they figure this thing out, and it's not promising right now. So we want you to live and enjoy every day, every pitch in the baseball, and we want you to come along and ask questions. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Scotty Webb at Webby20 MLB. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all the questions, the love, support. Quick retweet and a like. That's all we ask. We'll be back here tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Turn on the notifications and see you soon.